Hey, what's up, man? Hello. on, what? Why did he get out of hit stun? Bullshit. Wow. That's so dumb, man. He was in a combo. Stay in hit stun. It's so annoying. The guy didn't help me. He just stood there. Spawned like 30 guys at once. So dumb. And do the whole thing again. Guy was on the ground and then did some bullshit burst that got him out of hit stun. Yeah, nice when you guys get knocked down and don't randomly get out. Kamen Rider Geats guy sucks. Sucks at fighting. Never gonna make an AI companion that actually helps you. You always have to do everything. Can't even kill one guy. Well, this game is more of a beat-em-up than DFO currently is. Just find the gear to be kind of boring. This game is good, though. It's only gotten better. It's just weird how you can't, like, change the... You can't change any of the fixes on the gear at all. The RNG is, like, even worse than DFO. And the affixes aren't very interesting. I also don't like how the bosses don't stagger. Like, that's something that doesn't need to be in the game. They give you like air combos and stuff, but like most games, it's useless. It's useful in the training room. It doesn't really serve a purpose. Just let me combo bosses. Why does no game let you do that anymore? It's starting to get old. Give me like aerial moves and stuff. I should be able to put them in hit stun at least sometimes. I don't understand why they have to have the hyper armor bar. It should make them juggle afterwards. I don't really care about co-op. Shouldn't be the reason why you design the game that way. Just let me do it solo at least. Solo in this game is already pretty difficult. It's not like it would make the game too easy. Just trying to not get hit by bullshit this time. Explosive fart got me last time. Oh, there's a boss too? Holy crap. And a boss? I don't want a boss right now. Maybe doing this on the harder difficulty was not wise. Oh well, still getting gear for this. Not that bad. Get rid of these ads. Go. least they give you stuff when you wipe. Common Rider Geats here sucks at fighting, though. There's no help at all. Zero help. What's up, Alvy? Hello. Good track right here. dive kick in 2.5 levels. Let's try the air dash. Can always take it off later. This might actually be good for bossing. Can't tell me these developers didn't watch Kamen Rider Geats. It's painfully obvious. Painfully obvious they watched it. Very obvious. Gotta get to 29. Yapping. Oh, come on! Stuck in hit stun. Bullshit. Good move. That's alright, I got experience. It's stuck in hit stun too much in this game, which just sucks because they have so much hyper armor. They're gonna put me in hit stun. They should be put in hit stun. Don't deserve any mercy. Tired of fighting walls. Every game is like that now. Nothing reacts to attacks anymore. Just walls of armor all the time. I don't get why they don't like get launched or hit stun when they're stunned. That'd be way more interesting. They gave everyone like more aerial enabled moves, but like what point is there? I don't get what the point is. I'm glad that the generic enemies are actually very threatening. It just doesn't feel fun to fight bosses in this game. It's alright, I guess. Alright, well, this should be a pretty big upgrade. Yeah, Contra 3. What's up, Dan? Hello. Dynasty Warriors 9 had such a good soundtrack. Why do the worst Dynasty Warriors games have best music? 6 and 9. Best soundtracks of the series. How's the update? Pretty good. Yeah. This game's music isn't bad. It's just not good. It's not good beat 'em up music. It's very quiet and mellow. It does not get me energized. It does not match the gameplay at all. This game's got pretty good responsive gameplay. The music, I don't know, sounds like ASMR. Lo-fi beats to chill to. That's not what I want when I play an action game. So, playing my playlist. If you scroll up, you can follow my playlist. I add to it what I use for when I play games like this with music I don't like, or more often when I'm not playing games, like walking or on public transportation, I use it. Haven't played any games with bad music in a while, so... Either that or it's orchestral music that all the Western developers use that can't even remember. It's just noise. A lot of the Western AAA games use that kind of music. Epic summer movie music. You don't remember it 3 seconds after the track is over. I'm not a fan of that kind of music either. Orchestral music is great, but not in video games, I don't think. Most of the time it's not. Like, just very generic sounding. Not like Star Wars tier. I don't know how you keep playing that game, man. It really does look like a fake video game you would see on a 90s sitcom. It's just very unappealing. But I get that's what they're going for. Hey, Lost Soul Aside got delayed. Maybe I'll Maybe I'll play We Could Be Heroes. I might get desperate next month. Or this month. It's already May now. Might be an act of desperation. I might actually play that game. Probably not, though. What's in the patch? I only see what you post of it. I don't follow the game or anything. It's got some cool ideas, just gameplay doesn't look interesting. No, there's no freaking pause in this game. I hate that, man. When I push start, the game pauses. Period. So dumb. I just wanted to change the track. There's like no game have a pause anymore. I'm not in a party with anybody. So stupid. They're like aware that it sucks, too. Let me fucking pause. Doesn't matter that I'm connected to a server. I'm not playing with anybody. Give me a pause. The worst thing that Dark Souls popularized. Start button not being a pause button. It just puts you in a menu but doesn't pause the game. You can't ever stop playing, even for a few seconds. Why? Kazan doesn't have a fucking pause. There's no online in that game at all. What reason is there? People are telling you to get good and it's a skill issue. Like, dude, not everyone can put, like, you know, an hour of undivided attention into a game, man. Sometimes stuff happens. Dog needs to go out for a walk. Kid needs something. Phone call. Gotta piss. The list goes on. I really don't understand it. I'm not playing with somebody. Should always be able to pause. It's pissing me off. Why doesn't it shuffle? Charge for this service. Why is it so bad? I told it to fucking shuffle. It doesn't do it. What the fuck does it think shuffle means? It means shuffle. Yes. Shuffle the playlist, please. I pay for this shit. Make it work. Hate this site sometimes. Useless. Charging for it, make it better. Should be free if it's gonna be shit. Yeah, I don't understand why, games don't have pausing anymore. Just let me pause the game. Too busy promoting clickbait videos from known abusers that actually make YouTube function. I know where their priorities are. Not making this site work. I don't care about that. The last priority. Making sure only drama YouTubers get recommended to you instead of anything remotely positive. I tell it to not recommend those channels to me, and there's like a dozen more the next day. Like locusts. Like, how much trauma is there? I don't care. I don't care what Drake did, okay? I don't care. I never care. There's like 800 channels making videos. That's what YouTube thinks I want to see. Always in capital letters as well. The thumbnail is always cringeworthy. Yeah, I don't understand why Kazan doesn't have a pause button. People were like actually defending it. I'm like, dude, you don't have to be a father or a pet owner to like have a reason to not defend the lack of a pause button. That is a big part of it, yeah. If you have a pet or kids. But I mean, even if you don't have that, you shouldn't be defending the lack of a pause button in a single player game. There's absolutely no excuse for it. See, for some people that would actively push them away from even playing the game. Yeah, the Kazan forums are standard. Most of the community for that game is the standard Souls-like crowd who won't let anyone like legitimately criticize the game. Like, just because it's a skill-based game doesn't mean it's perfect. There can be things that are unfair or unfun in skill-based games. Just because it's intended to be hard doesn't mean that it's perfectly balanced. But people have this weird relationship with those games where they think that because it's designed to be hard, okay, like nothing in the game is unfair. They'll just tell you to get good. It's like, well, maybe some things in the game just suck. I mean, sometimes that is how it is. It's always you get greeted with parrot responses, get good, or a skill issue. I'm like, yeah, maybe some of those people do suck at the game, but their criticism isn't any less valid because of that. But I guess to those people it is. I literally saw people say it was a skill issue. You want to pause the game. Like, what? Have you ever had anyone ring the doorbell? Or, like, have your pizza arrive? Or your DoorDash? It's not limited to parents and pet owners, alright? Like, yeah, that is admittedly a big part of it. I don't have too many reasons to pause because, you know, I'm not a parent or anything, but I'm still a big advocate for having a pause button. Like, sometimes you just gotta go to the bathroom, man. You don't have to be a parent. You have to be a parent or married or own 10 dogs. Yeah, I don't interact with those communities that much because it's always the same thing. It's people that think the games are perfect, and you just get told to get good if it's, you know, a legitimate complaint. Kazan's a pretty good game, but there definitely are some shit boss fights. Being unable to pause. The way that the stamina system works is not very deep, and pales in comparison to Neo. It's lacking all those mechanics. It's a good game. Heaven forbid if you bring up any of that, they'll just tell you to get good. Like, people have gotten pretty far in the game already. Save up for those kunai. Got the Geats Mark 9 cape. Hard video games actually usually have the worst communities. Community for this game is actually really nice. It makes me want to make content for this game versus Kazan, where I've been down that road before. I'm surprised I didn't get a bunch of it for saying I was using mods. I'm like, dude, you can look at all the shit I did in Neo with no mods. I paid hard-earned money for the game. I don't really care about being a show-off. But yeah, communities for hard video games can be really toxic. People go to bat for the game for literally everything, even if it's a legitimate problem. Like, no, you're just bad at the game. It's always the same thing too. It's like people pointing out a legitimate flaw with on being unable to pause. More hard video games, Souls games in particular, have usually the worst communities. FromSoft crowd, some of the most insufferable communities. Like, dude, just because the game is hard doesn't mean it's perfect. And somebody who may not be, Ong Ball quality, or not like a cyborg at the game, it doesn't mean their opinion is invalid. Especially when it's something like being unable to pause. That doesn't even have anything to do with the game itself. It's just, sometimes life happens, you need to pause. Doesn't matter whether you've got 10 kids or a whole house full of dogs, or you just need to take a piss. It's a legitimate complaint. You're not allowed to say that, it's a skill issue. What? You ever had to just kind of randomly take a dump, even though you didn't eat anything like Taco Bell or something? I just gotta take a dump, man. The need of a pause button is not limited to fathers and pet owners. to think those people are like some kind of meta-human. They never eat or drink or have to use the bathroom. And they have like no friends or no never have any kind of like arrangement, like a phone call or a meeting or a job of some sort. They can legit just sit there and play a game non-stop for like 50 hours. They don't need to sleep or anything. The only justification I can think of for why somebody would say a pause button is a skill issue. They're also usually the people that are insufferable and probably never will have to worry about having a family. They'll never have to worry about having a family or, you know, kids or anything because they're miserable. Maybe that's why they say that. Legit jealous. Though there is also something to be said for the dad gamers who think that every game should give you instant gratification. That definitely is a thing too. That's not as bad as FromSoft, but like that's totally why Diablo 4 is the way it is. It's designed for people that want to play games, but they don't understand that like maybe you shouldn't have kids if you want to, you know, play games for more than like an hour a day. Okay. A lot of people don't understand that about Diablo 4. That's totally the market that they're going for. People who still want the game, but they've made decisions that don't allow them to. Like having 15 kids. That's the meme in the Diablo community is thanks for explaining this video. I have 300 kids and 4 wives, and I only have 30 seconds of game time a month. I need the game to cater to me. Dude, maybe you shouldn't have 300 kids. Or play something more bite-sized like this. But that is totally why Diablo 4 is the way it is. And a lot of action RPG fans need to understand it's not for them anymore. They're not making the game for them anymore. You could finish a Diablo 4 season in like 40 hours. So somebody who can only play like 1-2 hours, 1-2 hours a day, they're still finished in a month. Like that's the kind of person it's designed for. It's not designed for people that want to play like 16 hours a day non-stop for a week. It doesn't have that much content, and they're making more money because it's designed for more normal people who have like consistent employment and families and stuff. But the game definitely is worse because of it in some ways. I understand, but yeah, I see people say that. I have like 15 kids and Dragon Orc hybrid children, and I have 10 wives. This game takes too long. I'm like, well, you should play something like a gacha game or something. Those are more designed for short spans of time to play. Single player games are very much something you can put like tons of hours into. It's not meant for like immediate progress. That's partially why like MMOs have died as well, because people with busy lifestyles can play gachas and be competitive. Something like an MMO is insanely time-consuming. Those are also the people that complain that they're broke. And, like, it's because you have like 10 kids. That's why. A lot of people aren't built to be parents. It's too ingrained into society. You need to have kids to be successful. There are people who are great parents, and there are a lot of people that are shit parents. And then it's weird how they want games to cater to them. If you choose to have a family, you're going to have less time and money. I definitely could not live the way I did if I had children. But I don't. That's why I play games at 1 in the morning. But I do understand that if that was not the case, I would not be able to do this as much. I'm not going to expect the game to cater to me. Anyway. Oh, wow. Let's try this one. I'm done with this for tonight. That was good progress. Pretty much ready for tier 5, but I'm gonna go ahead and work on my build a little bit more. Try to get some more Umbras and max out my gear. And then maybe do the rest of the game on tier 5, because there's 2 legendaries I really want. I think I'm gonna go ahead and switch to PGR and see if maybe I'll come back to this after. Go knock out my dailies on that really quick. Alright. I was an only child, and I definitely didn't have it easy. My family is not rich. But, you know, my mom is in another state. You kind of have a very similar lifestyle. It's kind of chill and play games and stuff. We both have jobs, but they're not like high-paying jobs. Well, look, Sir Galgano came out. The new hot beat 'em up. It just came out a few minutes ago, apparently. It's because beat 'em ups are dire right now. We're still recovering from last year, Din. We're still recovering from last year. The horrible events of last year. They're still in the back of everyone's minds. G.I. Joe, Karate Kid, all the other ones. This year should be pretty good for beat 'em ups. Looking like we've got the actual good quality ones from prolific studios. And like different play styles. I'll play that on stream in a minute. Let me finish this up here. I don't think I have much to do on this game today, actually. Oh, it's Ishmael.
Boy.
You see, is there anything else to do today? I think I did everything this week, didn't I? I didn't do Norman.
この戦いおとぎ話耐えられます集え暁の光翼よ羽ばたけ進みましょう降りかかる苦難が全てなくなるまで
Well, we're getting another good batch of beat 'em ups, so that means that there's going to be more bad ones. Means there's going to be more bad ones. Whenever there's good beat 'em ups, there's always like a period of really bad ones. People who should not be making them because they don't understand what makes them work. So brace yourselves for that. We're gonna have a good year this year, 2025. 2026 is probably gonna be like last year. And willing to put money on it.
おとぎば。哎呀，帕瓦特，不痛不痛。当たれ。
当たれ。
翼よ羽ばたけ。それ。紅のように咲き乱れる。進みましょう。降りかかる苦難が全てなくなるまで。おとぎば。这就是帕瓦特冲击的威力。それ，私翼よ羽ばたけ。要小心凶暴吐息哦，帕瓦特很凶的。カラスバのように輝け。それ。
誇りない、もう死は恐れない。命がけで行くぞ。
総員出撃。精选攻击。
行くぞ。立ち止まるのはらしくない。
おとぎば。哎呀，帕瓦特，不痛不痛。行け。翼よ羽ばたけ。それ。紅のように咲き乱れろ。
集中攻撃。
要小心凶暴吐息哦，帕瓦特很凶的。紅のように咲き乱れろ。
集中攻撃。
彼方まで越え行け。
もう死は恐れない。行くぞ。立ち止まるのはらしくない。
拳で正々堂々勝負だ。
それ集え暁の光、翼よ羽ばたけ、当たれ紅蓮のように咲き乱れろ。進みましょう。降りかかる苦難が全てなくなるまで。
If I drop $50 on this game, what is the best value? You gotta be careful with these, because some of them are... I wouldn't say they're scams, but you can make your dollar go a lot farther. I'm thinking of going for Triple S Nanami. Let's see here. I'm not gonna do it right now, though. In a couple days. This next patch is a double patch. Probably that, and yeah, that's 10 pulls. That's 14 pulls. 24 pulls. That's 10 pulls over 10 days. So that's actually 24 right there. This is only 4.5 pulls. I don't think that one's really worth it. Well, I'll figure it out later. Alright, I'll play your trailer. Hold on. Oh shit! Whoa. Wow. That's probably it for tonight, folks. I think I'm gonna take it easy. Try to get to bed. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're interested, you guys have Towerborne, you want to play, go ahead and send an invite here. Also, before I go, are there any games I would be interested in this month? Because the main thing was Lost Soul Aside, but that got pushed back 3 months. That was like the big game for me this month. And now I have almost a whole month of nothing. Which, I mean, it's not really a big deal. I've got a backlog, and it's a very worst kept secret. This channel doesn't really make much money more than like pocket change, so I don't really have a need for a new game, but it's kind of dampened my plans a little bit. It literally got pushed back an entire 3 months. And that was like the main game that I was going to do this month. I mean, I guess Towerborne, and Towerborne doesn't really have microtransactions that matter. It's just costumes, so I guess there's that. When does Crystal of Atlan come out? Let me look that up really quick. So I was thinking of adding that to the lineup. Let me see. Let me. I gotta scroll back a bit. Hold on. I was looking at No Rest of the Wicked, but that game looks kind of really slow-paced. To wait and see if there's somebody puts up an endgame gauntlets build for that game, and maybe I'll check it out. Well, yeah, I've essentially got a whole month of nothing. I was literally going to pre-order Lost Soul Aside in tomorrow, but now there's no reason to do that because it's not coming out this month. Launches May 28th. Alright, well, Crystal of Atlan will replace... Crystal of Atlan will replace Lost Soul Aside. What that leaves the rest of the month is barren. The rest of the month is completely barren. I'm gonna have to figure something out. The reaction was good. I was very impressed with the trailer. You can go back and rewind if you want. Don't I have a rewind on? Oh yeah, Yasha comes out. Yasha comes out in like 10 days. I might play that. I might play Yasha, but I don't know. I didn't really vibe with the demo that much. Most of the stuff in my Steam wishlist has no release date, so you can't plan around it. Here, you guys can see my wishlist. I don't have anything. You can see. I'm looking through right now. I gotta start planning my purchases, and there's like nothing. Still no release date for this or anything. No one halfway decent playing. I'm really thirsty for this game, but they won't fucking show anything. Most of the stuff in here is vaporware. Like, almost all of it. Some of this stuff has been in here for years. Some of this stuff has been in here for literal years. Like, they're all just vaporware. Some things I was legitimately interested in, but can't really plan around when it just says coming soon. Axe of Blood, I didn't try that yet. I'll have to look into that later. I mean, there's this, but I'd be more interested in this if it had the single-player content. Because I played these games to death when I was in high school. Played these games to death in high school, and they don't have any of the single-player content, so I'm not really wanting to drop $40 on that. That's like the only other thing coming out this month. It's Crystal of Atlan, and that's it. I mean, there's a PGR update, but I only play that game for like max like 30-40 minutes. It's not really a good game to make content off of unless you're making guides, but I only play it casually. I don't do any pro content for that game. Let's see here. Yeah, this game was a lot like that. They gave me the key like last week, but then they kept updating it like every day, and they had no patch notes, and I was like, I'm really thankful that they gave me the key, but they were doing major changes like every day. It made it really hard to make an overview. I pretty much waited until like the night before. The night before the embargo lifted was when I made the overview for that. But yeah, we'll play more of that later today. You see, what's an upcoming? Is there anything halfway decent? I like to buy my stuff at the beginning of the month because I live on a mostly fixed income. Well, I was going to buy Lost Soul Aside tomorrow, but I guess not. I really need to pre-order it 3 months in advance. The hell is Pirates of the Caribbean Tides of War? Oh, Captain Blood comes out, but this is like a 20-year-old game. I don't know if I'll bother buying this. The game is from like 2005. It's an old game that was not released, and that they got the license to somehow. So I think a lot of people are going to be in for a rude awakening. It wouldn't have been very popular back then, and it certainly won't be now. There's a lot better stuff you can play. I don't know. Maybe if it was like $15, I'd probably get a few streams out of it, but I don't know, they're probably going to charge an insane amount of money for that. I can't get behind that right now. This looks mildly interesting. Is this like a online, or is it like something you can play by yourselves? The combat looks okay. I don't really like the way the characters look. I'll add the demo to the library. Try it later. Yeah, it doesn't look like something I'd probably enjoy. Dude, I told this thing action and it's got like... Oh wait, no I didn't, never mind. Sorry Steam, I was about to call you out. Trying to get through this month quicker. Any like small games I might want to play? Oh, it's just another Survivors clone. I'm so tired of those. There's like 15 of them a month. I'm so tired of Survivors clones, man. The most played out, overrated thing. I'm glad we still got some roguelikes actually trying to push the envelope, like Keyboard. Keyboard may have some jank and some very unfair things about it that make you not always want to go back in for another run, but at least they're doing something different. It's not another Vampire Survivors clone. They deserve a lot of props for that. There's so many of those games, man. They're all exactly the same. Only Onimushas I played was 3 and Dawn of Dreams. I don't know if I'd bother with this. I definitely would not take donations for that. This actually looks kind of cool. I think it is just another Vampire Survivors clone. Pixel art looks nice. Gameplay, meh. I wonder if they moved Lost Soul aside because of Elden Ring. I'm like, why do they think that's competition? Is that the reason why they moved it? I don't know, man. People have been waiting for Lost Soul aside forever. I wonder how bad of a state it was in to delay it like a month before it was supposed to come out. I wonder if it really was. I didn't know that they were coming out on the same day. That could be why, but I think that's kind of misguided. I don't know. They haven't really shown any gameplay for a while. Maybe it is in like just a really bad state, and they're trying to avoid getting buried in reviews, but I don't really think people who like character action games usually don't like FromSoft games. It's just general rule of thumb. People who like roll slop don't like character action games, and vice versa. I wonder if that might be one of the reasons why. They're obviously not going to come out and say that, but now that I look at it, I do think that is a reason. And like at least drop a demo. That would have made things go over a lot quicker, because I was literally going to pay off the game tomorrow. I was going to drop the $60 on that game literally tomorrow when my disability comes in, but I guess I'm not doing that now. Yeah, this month looks really barren. There's nothing really interested in, so I guess it'll be a backlog month. Nitro Express. That's the anime girl shooter, right? I like the pixel art. I don't know if I'd vibe with the gameplay. Gal Guardians. I just don't like screaming anime girls. I've never liked that kind of thing. I might be lonely and mentally ill, but I didn't get the genes that make me attracted to that stuff. It actually really bothers me. So I didn't really want to get those games. I've heard mixed things on the Gal Guardians games. Like, they're actually some of the better co-op games right now, but yeah, there's just nothing coming out this month. It's Crystal of Atlan's at the end of the month. PGR updates on the 14th. And that's basically it. So, I guess this month will be Towerborne. I'll be playing a lot of that. I'm definitely going to play, like, probably all the other classes except the Pyro class. So, I'll probably do a lot of that this month. Astral Ascent. Major updates. Warriors Abyss updates kind of shit, to be honest. I don't know how much longer I'll be playing that game, but got a clean slate on new games, so maybe I'll do some of that. Other than that, there's not much. I was kind of looking at this game right here. It kind of looks like Roll Slop, but there might be... I know that the builds are kind of interesting, but I don't know if I want to do 30 hours of Roll Slop for the chance of it being fun. So this is kind of on a wait and see, because the sale goes for like another 2 weeks. Let's see if people put up videos of cool builds with the martial arts moveset, because they did add martial arts to the game, which is like one of my criteria. But it looks a little bit too much like Roll Slop still, so I don't know if I'd bother. We'll have to make a decision about that later. I wouldn't need donations for it. I already got $10 in credit here. It costs less than $20, but I was watching somebody play today, and it looks very slow-paced. Maybe it's just like when you get through the campaign, it's slow, but then it ramps up later. That's pretty much all action RPGs are these days. But I've been looking at this. I need to do more research, and I'm kind of busy with Towerborne right now, to be honest. I've got Towerborne to play. I'm going to be playing that at least the next week, pretty hardcore. Astral Ascent update is going to be for kitty sitting streams. Keyboard. I didn't get around to that tonight, but next stream. Still got one more playthrough on Kazan, which I might actually want to do, because supposedly there's supposed to be DLC for this month of some sort. So it might benefit me to do that. That's a good 2 weeks worth of content there. Some mods for FF16 got released as well, so I guess we'll just wing it this month, which is good because my phone is falling apart and my bills are getting more and more expensive, and I'm not making more money. So maybe a break in releases is a good thing. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I'll probably hop on for Towerborne either in the morning or after I grab lunch. whether I order in or go walk somewhere. We'll do some more Towerborne. That's probably going to be the main game this month, because there's nothing else. There's literally nothing else to play right now. So, how was the Towerborne stream? Do you guys enjoy watching that game? I don't really look at my viewers, but I don't know. Was it popular? If people like watching this game, I'll keep playing it on stream. It'll be with custom music and stuff. It's been pretty relaxing, so I guess these 4 games right here will be what I'll be focusing on. Crystal of Atlan, I was partnered with that for the beta, and they said that I got some credit, but I don't know how the monetization works in that game, because North America was blocked. North America was blocked from that test, but because I got into the content creator program, they gave me access. But I couldn't access the cash shop, so I don't know how pay to win that game is. If it's the kind of game I'd have to spend a ton of money on to have fun, I don't think right now is probably the best time to play it, because the channel's not making much. My disability check, like, when it comes in the first week of the month, like, half of it goes to bills. And then I have to survive off, like, nothing for a whole month. So, that's the kind of game I'm going to have to put a ton of money into. I don't know if I'll stick around. So, I'm kind of on the fence about playing that. I liked it, but you know how it is with free-to-play games. You got to really look at the monetization and how miserable the game is to play if you spend... I definitely wouldn't be completely free to play, but if it's the kind of game where you need to spend a lot to even remotely have fun, I probably won't stick with it, because PGR is the game that I'm a dolphin on. All the other online games I play, I barely spend anything, except on, like, the off chance there's, like, a character I want, but the only one I'm really playing consistently is PGR at the moment. So I guess we'll see. You guys like it with the playlist? Yeah. The music in Towerborne it's too mellow. It's a very fast-paced action game, even with the slow classes. And then the music is just not energizing at all, so I'll keep doing that. Anyway, it's almost 2 in the morning. I'm gonna crash. If I get up and I'm presentable, we'll do more Towerborne.